Welcome to the Permian Strategic Partnership Podcast. I'm your host, Krista Escamilla. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Permian Strategic Partnership Podcast. I hope your summer is going well, and we're so glad you're here to spend some time with us. We have an amazing guest to introduce to you today, so we would like to begin by introducing Steve Sauceda, and he is with New Mexico Junior College. He is the Vice President for Workforce Development. Steve, so great to see you, and thanks for being with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, awesome. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role there at New Mexico Junior College.
Absolutely. So, as was mentioned, my name is Steve Sauceda, and I have the privilege of serving as the Vice President for Workforce Development. As of this recording, I have been with NMJC for 18 and a half years.
Wow.
And so I know you're looking at me thinking he must have started when he was 12. I did.
It's exactly what I was thinking, Steve.
And so what we do in workforce development, so I came on board when this division was only 3 months old. And so it is very near and dear to my heart of knowing that I didn't build it solely. I've worked with a great team, and then started out as a coordinator, and then worked my way up to director, dean, interim vice president, and now the vice president for the division for the past 3 years. And so New Mexico Junior College is one of 18 community colleges in the state of New Mexico that do non-credit workforce training. And when I say non-credit, it simply means it is not going towards a college degree, but rather a certificate or a certification to go join the industry of your choice, of whichever you have got the training program. So currently, my division actually has a little bit of both. My division is made up of 12 different departments as of this recording. Potentially might be growing in the coming year, but we have non-credit departments as well as for-credit departments, such as our automotive program, welding, cosmetology, public safety, which is a law enforcement academy, and energy technology. And then on the non-credit side, we have transportation training, which is our CDL program, which we're going to be talking about today, our oil and gas department, our automation department, continuing education, as well as workforce training. And then the other two are events and facility scheduling, and the Small Business Development Center for Hobbs is actually housed here within our division as well. So we love being in the Permian Basin. You know, Lee County is the number one oil producing county in America. Yes. And we're proud of that. We love that. And so we really trying to just double down on demand. We really do. What is our community needing, and how can we best meet that need as a good educational partner?
I love that. And what a fulfilling job, because our communities are stronger and work better together because of the job that you're doing. You are training the future workforce, and that is just amazing and such an asset to our community. So thank you for doing what you do. I think that's fantastic.
It's my pleasure, and this team has really followed the vision that I've laid forward, and it was quite simple. As I said, we get to create opportunities every day. We create opportunities for people to get a training and a skill set so that they can provide for themselves and their family. We certainly don't believe that we are the end-all be-all, but that entry-level point to get their foot in the door and hopefully being able to see them come back for even more upskilling.
I love that. Can you tell us a little bit about your efforts to address road safety here in the Permian Basin?
Absolutely. You know, the way that we're addressing road safety is, number one, with quality training. You know, with our CDL program, we are a bit unique. We have a 1-week program and a 2-week program. And so the 1 week is by assessment only. You know, if someone came in and said, I don't need the 2 week, I just need a 1 week. So we get them with our lead instructor to do an assessment. And typically the 1 week is designed for those who have an international CDL. And now that the Federal Department of Transportation has ordered that everyone has an entry driver level training, then we say, okay, you don't need the 2 week, you're good, or your CDL lapsed. But if someone couldn't even back up a golf cart into a parking spot, we're like, nope, you don't need the 1 week, you need the 2 week. And so ours is a bit unique in the sense that we only do 3 students per truck per instructor.
Oh, wow.
So with the fleet of vehicles that we have, we take the day cab and we retrofit it, and we actually put seats in there so that the student is in the truck every day, even if they're not driving at the moment. So you'd have a student driver, the instructor riding shotgun, and then the other 2 learning by observation. And we know that other academies have a different way of doing things, and it is not for me to say how they run their program. But for us, we're trying to give these students as much time behind the wheel as possible. So every morning they start in the classroom with safety and pre-trip, and then they're out on the pad, they're on the road, they're doing those types of things. So that's one way that we're contributing to road safety in the Permian. And the other one, we are the only testing center in the state of in southeast New Mexico. So the nearest testing site from us is 120 miles away in Roswell, New Mexico. So we have 4 sites actually. We have our site here in Hobbs at New Mexico Junior College, and we have 3 remote sites in Taos, New Mexico, Raton, New Mexico, and Portales, New Mexico, where we do testing. So there's approximately 11 truck driving academies that use us for testing. They trained elsewhere, but then they come to us, and we have third-party examiners who do all of it, who things are by the book, and this is no cutting corners, because if we're going to put our stamp on it, whether as instructors or examiners, it's got to be done correctly so that you can be out on the road and be as safe as possible.
I love that. It sounds like an amazing program that y'all are doing a great job at. I want to hear a little bit about how PSP and New Mexico Junior College are about to launch an exciting initiative. Tell me a little bit about this.
So a big shout out to Morgan and to Deborah for all of their support and walking with us step by step with this. And so the PSP has partnered with New Mexico Junior College, where they're going to be making a sizable investment into our program. So one of the things that we discussed out of this are, we're going to add a 3rd testing pad to coincide with what I had said, because in the last fiscal year, NMJC tested 877 students, and 469 of those students tested right here at New Mexico Junior College.
Wow.
And so we need more testing pad space because there are more academies, there are more students, so we're going to add a 3rd testing pad. We will be upping our advertising efforts for our CDL program throughout the Permian, and we also requested scholarship dollars. And if I could, I'd like to dive into this just a little bit more as to why this is so near and dear to my heart. There are times that we do get a certain amount of funding from the state of New Mexico, but the stipulation is you must be a New Mexico resident, which in and of itself is fine. We love the land of enchantment. New Mexico's in our name.
Yes.
However, being a border county and being 3 miles from the Texas border, we get an enormous amount of people from Texas wanting to come and take the training. And they know it's quality. It's a very affordable price. But we couldn't offer them that scholarship from the state dollars because they were not New Mexico residents. So one of the things that I asked for is all of the counties that the PSP represents, not only in southeastern New Mexico, but throughout West Texas, that they would be eligible for this scholarship dollars.
Wow.
And the PSP agreed, so that we were not just limited to southeast New Mexico, but all the counties that the PSP does business, and they graciously agreed. Another investment that they'll be making, and we'll be looking into doing this in early 2026, is a new truck and trailer. We tend to do stick manual transmission here at New Mexico Junior College, and it's a very simple reason. If we teach you how to drive stick, you can drive an automatic,
right?
No problem. But if we only train you on automatic and you go work for a company that does stick, we didn't do you a service very well. And so we'll be buying a new truck and trailer to add to our fleet, and we will also be adding another full-time instructor in order to help with that load there. So we are super excited and so very honored that the PSP saw the value in what we were doing and wanted to contribute to the quality to be able to put qualified drivers out on the road and safe drivers on the road as well.
I love that, Steve, because as a parent of 4 who trained, young people to drive not CDL, but a regular car, they didn't even know what a stick shift is, right? It's like this thing that they've heard of a long time ago. And so I don't know the numbers, but I'm assuming a lot of the trucks are stick. And so I think that is fantastic that you're training them on both. So either way, wherever they get hired, they're able to drive the vehicle.
And that's really comes from our team in the transportation department of Director Jamie Patterson and Juan Estrada and Albert Castanon, our 2 instructors, by saying, look, if they know how to drive stick, an automatic is no problem.
Right.
But we don't want them to say, man, XYZ company hired me and all they had is stick. And we're like, ugh. So that's why we made that request.
I think that is fantastic. Let's talk a little bit more about something you mentioned earlier. You said serving all the communities. I think that is something that, because I feel like we are such a big, broad region, right? So if someone is in Midland or Odessa and they want to come over there, how do they apply for that scholarship and how would they be available to come attend your school?
Absolutely. And so it will be available starting July 1st is the target date for this. They would simply go to nmjc.edu, nmjc.edu, and on the home page there is a little button that says Workforce Development, and on that page you will see it in bright red of scholarship application, and it's just a one-pager, and then they would send it back to the director, and they would do a simple either over the phone or a Zoom interview just to make sure, ask a couple of questions. What's your motivation? Why do you want to do this? Mm-hmm. Could you commit to 2 weeks, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5? And basically working out the logistics and accommodations of recognizing you can't really miss a day.
Right.
You've really got to be locked in here. And if they find that, they would be a worthwhile investment, then they would sign off on it. So the part that we're very proud of is our CDL program, the 2 week is only $3,000.
Okay.
The 1 week is only $2,000, the most affordable in the Permian Basin. And if they were to apply for this scholarship and are approved, we will cover 80% of it. So what that means is you have the opportunity to get a Class A CDL for $600 out of pocket.
Wow, that's amazing. And such a good deal. And the scholarships are there. So we're encouraging you today to apply starting in July. Why is it so important to have more CDL trained drivers in our workforce?
Absolutely. And I know that the PSP had commissioned a study that said by 2040, and when you say 2040, it sounds so far away. It's 15 years.
Right.
That's it. And 15 years goes by quickly. That there will be a need for 7,000 CDL drivers in the Permian Basin. And as we worked through this with Morgan and with Deborah and the management committee and all the wonderful people that supported this initiative, our thing is NMJC is not trying to train all 7,000 because there are other wonderful truck driving academies within the Permian, Odessa College being one. Mr.
Right.
Church and the director there, love what he's doing.
Yes.
We don't feel that we have to be the sole solution to the problem, but we want to do our part. We want to do our part. And so this is why an extra truck, an extra instructor, and an extra testing pad will allow us to do that. Now, while we may not be training all 7,000, our big contribution is also with the testing facility, that if you're training them, you can send them to our facility and you know that they're going to get a legit and quality examination to know if they passed. It's because they mastered the skill set to be out there on the road.
Fantastic. What can some of the career paths look like for someone who is a CDL licensed driver?
Well, honestly, we love oil and gas, drill baby drill. we love oil. However, being a Class A CDL truck driver is not simply limited to the oil and gas industry. When you really think about it, every piece of clothing that we are wearing, every piece of technology that we use, the food that we eat, has to get there via a truck.
Right.
Somehow, some way, it's got to be shipped there. So honestly, you ask the question, what are the possibilities? Think of an industry, and the possibility is there.
Right. Now let's talk money, because everyone wants to know, well, how much would I make doing this job? What is the average salary for someone who is CDL licensed?
Typically, you're looking at a starting pay of about $60,000 to $80,000 right out the gate. And obviously, that's standard. And we know that truck drivers also have the ability to accumulate a lot of overtime.
Yes.
So it's not unusual to start clearing six figures within 1 to 2 years, truly. And at least the way that we pitch it and the way that we sell it is, come spend 2 weeks with us. Come spend 2 weeks with us, $600 out of pocket, apply yourself, and when companies start saying, hey, do you have any good drivers coming out of your school? We said, matter of fact, we do.
Yes.
And so while being a training facility, we do our best to match up the demand from the industry with the supply being the students that we're training. But we also don't guarantee that, because what happens after you're done training is really up to you. Do you have the ethic? Do you have the desire and the drive to go put an application out there and say, hey, this is what I can do? But, we're part of the story in being able to provide the training.
I love that. What's the most frequently asked question that you get when it comes to your program that maybe you're almost surprised by, like that's a question?
One that we get asked the most is, how old do you have to be
to
take the CDL program? And the answer is 18.
Right.
Between 18 and 21, though, you are bound to the state in which your license was issued. You cannot cross state lines. So if you get, you're training in New Mexico, you can come from Texas and go get your license in Texas, but if you get it here and you're 18, you can only drive within the state. Now, when you turn 21, now you can cross state lines and travel anywhere in the country.
Okay, good to know. Very good. What's a fun fact about CDL driving that you want to share with everyone today that maybe others didn't know?
Fun fact about CDL driver's training is it's amazing to see how many people come in not knowing the first thing about driving a truck, but seeing instructors that take the time and are patient with them and watching the confidence build in these students every single day. And one of the things that we do as well is, like, say that yourself, for example, came and enrolled and you were assigned one of the instructors, and for whatever reason, it just wasn't meshing. You weren't connecting with their teaching style. You weren't connecting with their mode of communication. We don't have ego and pride in that sense where we'll go, why don't we switch you instructors? Let's see if you can do well. And that instructor doesn't take it personally, because they're invested in their success, whether it's them that gets them there or it's their colleague that gets them there. And that's how we do it in our department. Like, maybe I'm just not jiving with how you say it, but then if I go to this guy, oh, I get it. The deal is that you're able to do it successfully and do it safely, not so much the one who got you there.
Love that. I know you have seen, I'm sure, hundreds, if not thousands, of success stories through the years. What's one of your favorite success stories that really shows the beauty of this program and why you're so passionate about it? Because I can tell you are just so passionate about it, and I love that.
Oh, I'm passionate about all the departments in our division, but with what we're talking about today, there was actually a young man from Africa, and I love telling this story, surfing the web one night, far Africa, away from the United States, and was searching for affordable CDL programs in the United States.
Wow.
He found NMJC. So started saving and made his way to New York City from Africa. Thumbed his way down to southeastern New Mexico.
Wow.
Came to the college, said, this is who I am. We found some funds to be able to cover his tuition in full. And the young man did not have a vehicle, and a very low budget motel that he found was about 7 miles from the college. And class started every day at 8, and he was the first one here, walking.
Wow.
And about midway through, a gentleman we always call it the white truck, in the Permian Basin.
Yes. Everyone has a white truck. Yeah.
Everyone has a white truck. Someone saw him walking at the end of class. They pulled over to the side. They said, what are you doing? Taking CDL over at NMJC. You got a car? No, sir. Gentleman had a bike that he gave him. Gave him a bicycle.
That's
so
sweet.
He could get to class and where he needed to be. Completed the training, passed his test on the first try.
Wow.
And is gainfully employed in the Permian Basin, in the truck driving industry, and sending money back home so that he can get his family here.
That is an amazing story. I mean, talk about, okay, first of all, the power of wanting better for yourself, the power of Googling something and then finding it and then making it happen. I mean, the grit and perseverance that this young man had to come all the way from Africa. That's an incredible story. No wonder why you tell it all the time, Steve. I would too.
I love that story.
That is amazing. I love that.
There's so many others. There's some that will be working at a local restaurant as a busboy, and they'll say, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm so glad that someone gave me that chance, but I want a little more for myself, and this is why scholarships help. They really help, to be able to, because most of the time, when you're talking non-credit workforce training, at least in the state of New Mexico, it is not funded like a 4-credit program. You cannot fill out a FAFSA. You cannot fill out a Pell Grant to cover your non-credit workforce training. So most of the time they're having to put it out of pocket. This is why we go to so many industry partners, the PSP being one, and there's other member companies of the PSP who are individual partners with New Mexico Junior College who see the value in non-credit workforce training because the beautiful thing about it is, 20, 25 years ago, there was such a stigma around career and technical education, or as they call vocational training or workforce training, because it was viewed as, well, if you can't cut it academically, then I guess you go over here. It was kind of considered the B option.
Right.
But that is no longer the case. And that's certainly not the case at New Mexico Junior College or how we view it. We view it as equal footing based on where you are in life. Yeah. What do you want? Do you want a 2-year degree? Do you want a 4-year degree? Do you want that? We got a path for you.
Right.
But if it's more of, I really don't have time to do that right now. I need something short term where I can go to work to provide for myself and for my family. And this is why we serve both sides of the house, both sides of the coin, both sides of the pillow, however you want to look at it, because it really is, what do you want? What is your path? How many students have you seen that were forced to go to the traditional way and they just couldn't cut it? They're not dumb. They're not ignorant. That just wasn't for them. You put them in a welding lab. You put them in an automation lab. You put them in something else and they...
Boom. Yeah. Yep. I love that. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned industry partnerships that, because I know that's so important to all of your programs. If others are looking to partner with NMJC, what is the best way to reach out to your team? How can they get involved like PSP has?
Absolutely. I would say if you would allow me the honor of kind of serving as the triage of reaching out directly to me at the college and as the getting to serve as the VP, I can get you in contact with the proper director. Because oftentimes people do want to help, but they don't know where to start.
Right.
I feel like that's kind of my job to kind of find out, what are you looking to partner with us on? What are you looking to make an investment on? And then I can get you connected with the right department director. And another way, honestly, is one thing I'm very proud of is every single one of my departments have active advisory boards.
That's awesome.
This is another way to get involved because as a community college, my philosophy is very simple. How in the world can you say that you're serving your community needs if you don't know what your community needs are? How can you be offering things that they want if you're not actively asking them? Right. But not only asking, what we say is, hey, you've got a great idea. We love it. How can we count on you to partner with us, whether financially, equipment-wise, instructor-wise, advertising-wise? Like, if we're doing something that we don't need to be doing, don't just tell us how to fix it. How do you help be part of the solution with it as well?
I love that. I know we're getting close to the end of our podcast, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you better and enjoyed this conversation. Tell me, Steve, what does this mean to you, this partnership with PSP? Because we see so much good that is coming from the PSP and all that they're doing. Tell us how this partnership has really benefited your community positively.
Oh, absolutely. And what it does is it allows us to create more opportunities. Kind of like we said at the outset here, is that oftentimes if someone doesn't have the funds, they're looking for ways to do it. And what this does, this partnership with the PSP, is we're eliminating another barrier to entry.
Yes.
That's what we're trying to do, is make it easier to get it and not so much red tape. We're trying to simplify the process to get from training to the workforce. It really is. And when you have that kind of financial investment, when someone doesn't have to worry about money, it alleviates a lot.
Yes.
Where they can focus in on what they need to do and not worry that they're taking something away from their family that they might need these funds for, where they could come in and get this training. And we are very grateful that the PSP and the staff, I seriously cannot say enough good things about Morgan and Deborah, about being with us every step of the way. And just very appreciative and cannot wait to announce this to the community of what we've been working so diligently on. And I'm happy to see that they supported the passion that we have and the vision that we have to not change what we're doing, but to help amplify what we're doing and reach a broader base.
That's fantastic. I love that. All right, tell me something good. Tell me something good that's happening in Hobbs. I always like to look for the good, so share something good that's happening there.
Hobbs is growing. Hobbs is really growing, like I had mentioned earlier. When it's good to be number one at things you want to be number one at, and being the number one oil producing county in the entire country is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
It really is. NMJC is expanding, at least for us as well. On July the 17th, we are opening the newest facility at New Mexico Junior College that falls under workforce development, under my purview, called the Industrial Training Center. It is a 25,000 square foot facility, paid in large part due to the oil and gas tax revenues that our institution is so fortunate to get. And a big thank you to the industry for how you support us. It will be a state-of-the-art welding lab, a state-of-the-art automation lab. It's where our oil and gas trainings will be held, as well as our lineman utility, which is a groundman and pole climbing school, where we're teaching them how to climb up poles and be pre-apprentice journeyman electrician. So on July 17th, we open that facility up to the public.
That's fantastic. And then, of course, the program that launches for CDL scholarship for all over the basin launches in July. So many good things. Thank you, Steve, so much for sharing today. I really enjoyed getting to know you better. Is there anything that maybe we didn't get to ask you or talk about today that you want to share before we leave our listeners?
What I would say, absolutely, and thank you for that question and the opportunity. The best advertising we could ever ask for is word of mouth. Your endorsement by telling your friends, by going on social media, by saying I had a wonderful opportunity, there was a scholarship opportunity, because we are really trying to spend and award every penny that we were awarded from the PSP. Doesn't go in my pocket, doesn't go in anyone else's pocket. This is not towards salary. This is to help as many people as we possibly can. So that's the goal. So if you want to work with us on that, partner with us on that, the best advertising I could ever ask for is a good experience that you tell somebody else.
I love that. Thank you so much, Stephen. That's what we're doing today. So please share this podcast with someone that you think could benefit from a CDL license, and let's keep sharing the good news that's happening here in the Permian Basin. Steve, you're doing a great job. Thank you for pouring into our community for 18 and a half years. We appreciate you. And like I said, you said earlier, you started when you were like 10, right? Because you look so young. You're doing a great job there in Hobbs, and we appreciate how you are training the next workforce and our future leaders. So thank you.
Absolutely. I'm a big believer in passing the baton. You think of a relay race. You run your leg, and then when it's time to hand it off to someone and you move up or move out, you pass the baton, you let it go, you get out of the way, and you cheer them on. So for now, I'm thrilled to be holding the baton and look forward to be able to handing it off to someone else in the coming years so that they can continue the good work of serving the Permian.
I love that. Thank you so much, Steve Sauceda, New Mexico Junior College Vice President of Workforce Development. I enjoyed our time together, and we've enjoyed spending this time with all of you. Remember, please share this with someone you love. Let's keep the good going here in West Texas and New Mexico. And don't forget, we are all in this together, and the future lies in the Permian. So we look forward to seeing you at the next Permian Strategic Partnership Podcast. Steve, thank you, and thank you all at home. You make it a great day. Thank you for listening to the Permian Strategic Partnership Podcast. For more information, go to permianpartnership.org.